rock legend Alice Cooper is facing fierce backlash after branding transgenderism as a fad. The comment was made during a recent interview where he pushed back against woke ideology and gender-affirming care for minors. And as a result, he is out of a deal. Vampire Cosmetics has decided to cut ties with the rocker now and issued a statement to the LGBTQ community. He now joins other music legends, including guitarist Carlos Santana, who previously came under fire for remarks about transgenderism.
I really don't think that, 70-something-year-old man doesn't like trans people should be much of a headline. Because at the end of the day, whatever Alice Cooper has accomplished in his life, he is, I don't know how old he is, 75, 76 years old. And he's been a Christian for most of his career. What are the odds that Alice Cooper actually understands the intricacies of that social issue? Probably about zero. Alice Cooper has been a right-wing fundamentalist Christian for the majority of his career. He's been a right-wing fundamentalist Christian. I think he became one in the late 70s because he went to a church and he heard a hellfire and brimstone sermon from some random preacher talking about how anybody who does these sinful things and whatever is going to go to hell for all time. And Alice Cooper got scared of the hellfire and brimstone sermon and had a come to Jesus moment. And he started attending that church regularly. And he went to that preacher and he was like, should I stop being Alice Cooper? And of course, the preacher probably does not believe in God himself, probably an atheist, as most of them are. And probably just thought to himself, like, this guy's making money as Alice Cooper. And if he's coming to this church, that money's going to come to me. So, of course, the preacher said, no, you can keep doing that crazy rock and roll stuff. Just be sure to give me the money. And ever since then, Alice Cooper's been a right-wing Christian guy. Even as he, goes on and does his little crazy stage show where he's decapitating mannequins and singing these crazy songs and all this and that. And, putting on the Alice Cooper persona. And, I don't really care about that too much. Alice Cooper's music to me is kind of, I like it, but to me, it's like superficial. It's like just superficial, spooky music. I don't think there's any deeper meaning to most of it. So I don't really feel like he has much ideology in his songs. Most of them are just about, pretty like basic sort of topics and themes of crazy monsters and my girl broke up with me and this and that. So those are the kind of songs that Alice Cooper generally puts out. So I've never really cared too much that he's a fundamentalist Christian, but usually he doesn't come out and put these sort of regressive social opinions out there. But, on this issue, for some reason, he's decided to come out and be like, I don't like trans people. I think that this trans thing is a fad. Well, I mean, he's wrong about that. Being trans is not a fad. It's been around for centuries. I mean, it's probably been around in some form since, before modern humans. But because gender is such a, socially constructed phenomenon in the first place, the way that being trans manifests has been different throughout history. A lot of times people will bring up that, many Native American tribes had, separate gender distinctions for people who were two-spirited or whatever. And other cultures have had different social genders that have been occupied by people who don't quite fit into what, our traditional sort of binary, system. So, but, as far as modern transgender sort of manifestations go, I mean, we know of instances of, trans people existing in the 1800s. We know of, entire trans movements arising in the 1920s and 1930s. We know that in the late 1940s, You had like a huge surge of interest, like immediately after like World War II, there was a huge surge of interest in trans people then. And they've pretty much been part of American culture pretty heavily since then. Like people have always known that transsexuals, transgender, whatever, the terminologies have changed, have existed and been with us in some form or another. So the idea that this is some like Johnny-come-lately trend that just cropped up yesterday or something is pretty much silly and ludicrous. But even if it were, like, so, you know, like even if it was just like a fad that started yesterday, like, so what? What would that mean? You still have to argue against it on some kind of other basis, rather than just like, well, it's a trend, it's a fad, so we don't have to even think about it. I hate the word transgenderism. Yeah, well, it's there. It's being used. On October 6th, the Deep Fat Fried live show and meetup is coming to Las Vegas, featuring TJ, Scotty, Paul's Ego, musical guest, The God Bombs. Get your tickets now, available in the description section down below. Be there or be dead. Or square. The Philippines had a separate gender just for femboys. Yeah, I mean, like, the idea that throughout all of human history we have had, you know, two hard and fast genders and no other, you know, exceptions or allowances have been made for anyone who felt differently is just like a false view of history. It's ahistorical. It has nothing to do with reality. Are
you one of those folks who just wants all politics out of your music? Kind of like we don't want any politics in our sports?
You know, I appreciate musicians and other artists for what they do in their art, but they're also people, and they have their opinions about.
Oh my God! If Alice Cooper had said the opposite thing, these people would have a completely different fucking take, even if they were even talking about it. Honestly, if Alice Cooper come out and said, like, you know, I support the trans community, and I think this is a very serious issue, and I don't think that anybody should try to control how someone else identifies or feels about their body or about their identity. I think that that's a deeply personal matter, and we should not pass legislation that stands in their way. If Alice Cooper had come out there with that statement and these two people were expected to commentate on it, do you think they'd have this same, well, you know, look, artists are people too, and they got their own beliefs and philosophy? No, they wouldn't. It'd be the complete opposite. It'd be like another out of touch, you know, woke celebrity spouting nonsense that the American people just don't agree with or whatever.
About things. I mean, we have a lot of them on our air. You know, we have Joe Germanato, Lady Gaga's father, on a lot. If Lady Gaga herself wanted to come on and talk about an issue, I'm sure that we'd be happy to put her on.
Yeah, I mean, if a famous celebrity wanted to come on our show and raise up our ratings and stuff, we'd be happy to have them. Like, yeah, no crap.
But, you know, sometimes people get themselves in trouble. And that's obviously the case with Alice Cooper.
Very interesting to see the reaction to all of that.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Well, I mean, it would have been interesting to see the reaction to all that if you'd actually, you know, shown the reaction to all that in any way, shape, or form. I love how they can just reference that a reaction is happening, but you can't actually talk about the reaction. You can't actually show the reaction or define what the reaction is. Well, part of the reaction is he was dropped from a makeup brand that sponsored him. Well, they were sponsoring him because he's Alice Cooper, the freaky rock star that wears makeup on stage. And they dropped him because he went ahead and decided, like, I'm going to attack a demographic of people that company is probably trying to sell makeup to. Because you know who needs makeup? trans women, right? You know, probably something. Hey, you want some makeup? We got you covered. Alice Cooper's like, I don't like trans people. Well, you're attacking a demo that we could potentially sell to, and under the laws of capitalism, fuck you. You're gone now. They probably went ahead and just like, hey, how many people who are buying our makeup brand give a crap about Alice Cooper? Well, probably a few, but you know, I mean, I don't remember. I don't know. I think Alice Cooper's last like #1 hit was probably sometime in the 80s, maybe even back in the 70s. I don't know Poison ever reached the top of the charts. So, you know, but he's got, you know, a legacy and stuff. So yeah, there's some interest there probably. But trans people, that's like a pretty vibrant and like very current thing, right? So, how many of our people are interested in that? Well, probably a lot, because a lot of them are trans, a lot of them support trans people, and you know, because you're an alt brand, so a lot of them are probably pretty ferociously pro-trans, and a lot of them probably know trans people. So it's kind of like, are they going to shoot themselves in the foot by saying that they're going to stand by Alice Cooper? Or are they going to stand by a huge demographic that they're trying to sell makeup to? And under the rules of capitalism, of course they're going to drop fucking Alice Cooper. So I don't really think that it's some kind of like woke, crazy overreaction. I think it's a simple business decision that anybody would make in the shoes of that company. Even if that company is secretly owned by some stodgy Republican fuck who maybe personally hates trans people, they would still make that decision because they would be making the decision that was best for their business.